And did you read those notes after Mr. McKenna took them?
No.
Did Mr. McKenna record your statement?
I never saw that. No, I don't think so.
Okay. Each time that you saw Mr. McKenna, did he take notes?
No.
Is it fair to say that after we failed to call you to testify in our case, that you then decided that you would go over to the defense?
No, they came to me. I never decided myself.
Have you ever had any fights or arguments with Patricia Barrett?
No. Only one thing I don't like from her is that when I come in the office, she speaks always French to me in front of other people who speak English, and I think it's very rude, and I didn't like that at all.
Okay. You're French, and she speaks French to you, and you don't
like
like
in front
that?
of customers and people, and I don't like that at all. It's pretty rude.
And when you spoke to Mr. Thompson and Mr. Stevens, my investigators, and myself on May 29, you told us that the vehicle you saw was a white Bronco or Blazer. Is that correct?
I didn't say Bronco. It looks like a wagon, Blazer-like car, like I said in the testimony.
Okay. And Mr. Field, the man whose Mercedes you detail that on occasion?
Yeah.
Okay. He lives in Beverly Hills?
In Malibu and Westwood, he has a place.
Oh, he has two homes?
Yeah, he has a condo in Westwood.
And you have spoken to him about your observations that night, is that correct?
Yeah, a long time ago, wasn't it?
And didn't you tell Mr. Field that the vehicle that you saw that night was a white Bronco?
I said a white car, a white Blazer. I never said that. I can't recall that at all. If he interpreted that there was a Bronco, that is his.
I asked you earlier if you'd been interviewed in the media, and you told me that you had. Is that correct?
Pardon?
You've been interviewed for television?
Yeah, earlier on, after the murders.
Were you interviewed this past week?
No.
Have you been interviewed by reporters from Channel 2?
No. Well, a long time ago.
Okay. Who was that?
Oh, that was just after Mr. Cochran mentioned my name in an opening statement of the trial.
Have you been interviewed by newspaper reporters?
Yeah, one Newsweek.
Okay. And you've actually had your photograph in Life magazine?
Yeah, that was a surprise for me.
A photographer came by from Life magazine?
No, I never saw him. He took a picture for me and the dogs, walking the dogs. Okay. With Mr. McKenna. We were going around the block for the timing.
Anything else? Thank you, Your Honor. That's all I have right now.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I approach you?
You may.
Now, while you're down, if the court's permission, thank you very much. In one of Mr. Darden's questions, sir, he asked you this white vehicle that you described.
Right.
And I'm going to go back and ask you what you told the police on June 21st regarding this vehicle. Remember talking to Payne at that time?
Yeah, right.
All right. And at that time, Mr. Darden asked you a question. Was that vehicle, the white vehicle, which was the third in the vehicles you saw,
Right.
was that vehicle going eastbound on Dorothy?
Eastbound, yeah, it came to the Bundy. East, yeah. He came here, on this side, so he went east, yeah.
It was going eastbound on Dorothy. So when it got to Bundy,
Right.
in which direction did it turn on Bundy?
It went south on Bundy, it made a right turn.
So it made a right turn on Bundy,
Right.
is that correct?
Exactly. Right away.
All right. And so that if we were to look at the diagram at plaintiff's 26, you're talking about it going eastbound
Stop there, yeah.
and then turning right?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And sir, is that direction away from Mr. O.J. Simpson's home?
It's away.
All right. You were going to go to O.J. Simpson's home from that location. You wouldn't go down to Wilshire, would you?
Maybe go north, I guess.
You'd go north toward Sunset, isn't that correct?
Sunset, right.
And that's what you saw, is that correct?
It went south. Yeah.
And that's what you told the police, isn't that right?
Yes.
All right. You may resume your seat, sir. Now, sir, Mr. Darden asked you a number of questions, and one of the questions he asked you was about a letter or something that you received from Mr. Bailey. You recall that?
Yeah, Mr. McKenna gave it to me, so I
Right.
don't have to submit it.
And I'm going to mark this as defendant's next in order, Your Honor, show it to the prosecutor, and then I'd like to mark it as our next in order.
1240.
Thank you. Placing a 1240 on this, Your Honor, and I'm going to ask the witness a couple of questions, and then I want to place it on the elbow, if I might. This, I want to show you whether or not this appears to be a copy of the letter that Mr. Bailey gave to you. It says, "Dear Robert."
Right.
Does that appear to be a copy of the letter?
Yeah, that's it.
Signed by F. Lee Bailey?
Yeah.
All right. Your Honor, I'd like to place this on the elbow and ask him some questions about it.
356. Proceed.
Place it on the elbow, please. Can you look at that monitor there?
Right.
This was a letter after you were subpoenaed. Mr. McKenna gave you this letter, is that correct?
Yeah,
And do you recall that the letter indicated as follows? Dear Robert, that's your name, right?
that's my name still.
Robert, if you want to
Robert.
speak French.
Très bien.
All right. We would like to thank you very kindly for taking the time to assist us in enabling you to present your testimony in a manner which will afford our jury the best opportunity to comprehend and understand your testimony very clearly. Is that what the letter indicated?
Right, exactly, yeah.
All right. Second paragraph, in order to prevent any claim or concern that the testimony of one witness has been influenced by the recollections of another witness, we are requesting that you avoid contact with other witnesses who have information about occurrences in the vicinity of Dorothy and South Bundy between 10 and 11 o'clock p.m. on June 12, 1994. The letter
Right.
said that?
Correct.
Indeed, it would be best, if it is convenient in your own particular circumstances, to discuss your recollections of these events with no one but the lawyers and investigators for both sides.
Right,
Your letter said that?
exactly.
We do not wish to be presumptuous or rude in any way. However, your testimony is so critical to Mr. Simpson's defense, we wish to take every precaution to protect it from any external influences. Is that what it indicated?
Exactly, that's it.
We appreciate your understanding of these circumstances. Is that correct?
Right,
And that letter then was signed by Bailey, F. Lee Bailey, right?
right,
All right. Now, that's a letter that you got as a witness in this case. Is that correct?
exactly, yes.
And did you try and avoid discussing your testimony
Oh, sure.
with other people who had been in and around that area?
Sure.
All right. Now, you've been asked a number of questions by Mr. Darden today, and you asked some questions about a lady by the name of Patricia Barrett. Let's take her first. Is Patricia Barrett a French lady?
She's French, she speaks fluent French, that's for sure.
Speaks French?
Yeah,
And when you're around her and when you talk to her, is your testimony that she speaks French only?
yeah, I don't like it.
All right, and you don't like that, and so that when others are around, she's talking to you, unless they speak French, they don't know what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, I think that's rude, I don't like that at all.
All right. Now, with regard to Miss Barrett, was she a friend of Ron Goldman's?
She claims that to me,
All right, she claims she's a friend of Ron Goldman.
yeah.
And with regard to her, since this case happened, June 12th, June 13th, 1994, has this lady sold her story and appeared on,
Sustain.
and it goes to Ice, may I be heard on this? Have you heard on this?
Sidebar.
May I proceed, Your Honor? Thank you. Now, with regard to Patricia Barrett, are you aware of whether or not she has, since June 12th, 1994, appeared on some television programs?
She told me that she would be on one of the.
Sustain.
Have you had a conversation with her
Yeah.
about, you can answer this yes or no, about appearing on television shows?
Yes.
And have you had occasion to discuss with her her desire to be on television shows?
Sustain.
Well, let me ask you this. Did she ever tell you whether or not she was going to seek some money?
Sustain. It's hearsay.
All right, thank you. Do you know whether or not Patricia Barrett has appeared on either hard copy or, I'm asking the question.
Oral.
Thank you. Do you know whether or not Patricia Barrett has appeared on either hard copy or current affair since the time of these murders on June 12th, 1994?
She told me she would.
Answer stricken, jurors disregard.
Let me ask
Question,
this.
do you have personal knowledge? Did you see the program or anything like that?
I never saw the program.
You never saw the program?
No.
All right. Now, when did you talk to her about appearing on television? Just tell us the approximate time. About-
Oral.
What time? You,
Yeah, when was it approximately when you talked,
Oh,
she
that's
talked
all-
about appearing on television?
Oral.
that's a while ago.
All right, do you have an idea when it was?
No, a few months ago. So.
All right. Now, with regard to Ms. Barrett, you had indicated on direct examination, I believe yesterday, that you had told, I guess was it her employer, that you had been in and around the Bundy location on June 12th in the evening hours. Is that correct?
Exactly, yes.
And then, what was that person's name?
Dr. Paul.
Dr. Paul?
Paul, yeah.
All right, and then Ms. Barrett works for Dr. Paul?
Right.
And do you work for Dr. Paul also?
Yes, I want every other week I do his car.
All right. And then you became aware that Ms. Barrett was supposedly a friend of Mr. Goldman's, is that right?
Right.
And then after that, you were put in touch with these detectives, is that correct?
Exactly.
And the detective that you first spoke to was whom?
Mr. Payne, plus another one, I don't recall his name, a tall man with it.
All right, and you described that for us yesterday. And I want to ask you some questions about what you said at the time to Detective Payne. First of all, this conversation was it back on or about June 21st of 1994?
Yeah, so should be.
And do you recall where the interview took place?
In the sub-garage of my
And
apartment.
that's the one that was down in the sub-garage?
Yeah, right.
Is that correct?
Right.
And when you talked to Detective Payne, you tried to be as accurate as you possibly could, is that correct?
Yeah, sure.
And this statement that you gave him was within 9 days of June 12th, 1994, is that correct?
Yeah, something like that.
All right.
It's around like
And at that time, you talked as clearly as you could to him, is that correct?
that. Exactly, yes.
Okay, now, Your Honor, I would like at this point to mark, this is defendant's next in order, the statement of Mr. Heidstra to Detective Payne.
1241? 1241.
1241. And I want to ask the witness to look at it, and I'd like to place it on the Elmo if I could. May I approach?
You may.
I have no objection. Go get a clean copy.
Clean copy.
I'll show him this one, and we'll try to get a clean.
All right.
I'm not sure, maybe have a clean copy.
Can we show him a clean copy?
That's appropriate, unmarked.
We have one that doesn't have the, I think all our copies have these markings in the writing. Do you have one that's clean?
You have a clean copy?
It's, your statement 0729.
Do you need an additional photocopy made?
No, I don't think so, Your Honor.
All right.
What?
You may.
I want to just show it. Well, actually, you can still see this black. We're going to have to black it out a little better, but I'll approach you. Mr. Heidstra, I want you just to look with me at this two-page statement. It purports to be a statement of an interview conducted by Detective Payne and Parker with you. Does this look like approximately what you said to him, that Mr. Heidstra stated that he walks his two dogs on a nightly basis at approximately 2,200 hours at 10 o'clock?
Right.
His route of travel always consists of the same streets, although the direction he takes varies.
Exactly.
On the night in question, Sunday evening, and they have the wrong date in here, June 14th, 1994, he left his apartment with the dogs at about 22:15 hours. Do you indicate that?
Yes, sure.
Right. And I'll proceed this way rather than Elmo, because the addresses are still there. May I proceed?
You may.
Thank you. Now, I want you to tell me if what I'm reading to you is accurate, what you told the police officers 12 days after the events of June 12th. You tell them at that time that you walked east on Dorothy to Westgate, then north on Westgate to Gorham.
Right.
That you turned left on Gorham and walked west to Bundy Drive.
Exactly.
That you turned left on Bundy Drive, began walking south. Did you say that?
I was not exactly on Bundy. I reached Bundy.
All right.
They missed.
At Gorham. So
It's still going.
and that part of the statement is wrong?
Yeah, I would say, because I was not in Bundy yet.
Okay.
It comes together. It's very hard to say.
All right. He indicated that Bundy Drive has a large curve in the roadway at that location, and because of that curve, he was unable to see the front of the residence at 975 South Bundy Drive. Is that correct?
Right, exactly.
So from that location at what we call yesterday the fork in the road, up here, you couldn't see the front.
No.
And that's because of this curve
Right.
that's depicted here
Right.
on People's 26. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. Now, did you go on to say to them that you walk the same route every day and you're familiar with the dogs in the various residences as well as the exterior of the various residences themselves?
Yes, I do so many times walking.
And is that accurate?
Right.
You told them that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, that shortly after turning south on Bundy Drive, that part is wrong. You turned in the alley, right?
Yeah, I didn't go on Bundy at all. No.
Mr. Heidstra heard the sound of the Akita dog owned by Nicole Brown Simpson began to bark furiously. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay, that the barking was nonstop and the dog appeared agitated. Was that accurate? Is that what you told him?
That's accurate, yes.
Okay. And you went on to tell the detectives that you were familiar with the sound of the bark of the Akita as it barks frequently when you pass with your two dogs.
Right.
You told them that,
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
Is that accurate?
Yeah, I told them that.
Okay. All right. And believing that the dog might be possibly loose and a danger to him and his dogs, you then changed your route of travel, and then you turned in an adjacent alley which parallels Bundy Drive and which would take him back to Dorothy Street.
Exactly.
Is that correct, sir?
Yeah, right.
Okay. And then you described that as you reached the alley, you heard this male voice loudly cry, "Hey, hey, hey," then the sound of a large metal gate closing, right?
Yeah, right.
All right.
Exactly.
Now, in the statement when you talked to the police, you didn't talk or say anything at that time about the age of the person who says, "Hey, hey, hey," did you?
No.
It was just a voice that you heard. Is that correct?
Exactly, yes.
And by hearing a voice, I presume you could hear and determine or discern the difference in the voice of a child and an adult, could you?
Right, yes.
But would you agree that it would be difficult to determine the voice of a young adult from an old adult?
Sustain.
All right.
Phrase the question.
Okay, certainly, Your Honor. Are you able to discern always the difference in ages of voices when you can't see the people?
No, that's hard to do.
Now, and let me ask what I'm about. Let me ask the question of race. Are you able to hear a voice and then determine the race of the person?
It's absurd.
It's what?
Absurd. I've never heard that.
All
How
right.
could I hear that?
All right, let's continue on. So you heard this "hey, hey, hey," and then you heard what you believe was a large metal gate closing. Is that correct?
Yeah, one slam.
All right. There was one slam?
That's it.
All right. You went on to tell these police officers, Payne and Parker, that you heard the sounds of two men arguing. Is that right?
It's right, yes.
But you were unable to discern what they were saying specifically. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
And you never told Detective Payne anything about one voice being an older man than anyone else, did you?
No, I never said.
You never told Detective Payne about one voice being deeper than the other voice, did you?
No. Just two voices I hear.
Two voices. And as you told us here in court, that the dog, who we believe was the Akita, whom you couldn't see, was barking.
Yeah.
And the little black dog was adjacent to the house where you were. Was
The stain.
All right, let me ask you this. Was your ability to hear in any way the voices of these persons that you heard in any way affected by any other circumstances?
No.
All right, well, did you hear any
Excuse
dogs?
me, Excuse me, Mr. Cochran, do you need to be there because you're blocking
Let me just step
view
back.
of the witness?
Thank you, Your Honor. Is he going to continue? Yeah, I'm continuing with the
He's
statement.
going with the statement at this point.
The two dogs that were barking, were they barking at the same time as you heard the voice of these two men?
Yes, a loud barking.
Oh, well,
And did the dogs barking in any way affect your ability to hear?
Oh yes, I could hear nothing, almost nothing. I was just the two voices, very fast, very quick.
And have you ever at any time told
excuse me,
anybody?
I'm sorry, counsel. Did you have the witness pull the microphone?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Have you ever at any time told anyone that you heard the voice of a black man?
Never said that.
Now, you went on to tell them, did you not, that all the while the Akita continued to bark nonstop during this period of time, right?
Non-stop, yes.
Overruled.
All the while the Akita continued to bark nonstop, and in fact continued to bark until about 11 o'clock,
Right?
just like you told us here in court, right?
Sure.
All right. As you went on to tell him that as Mr. Heidstra reached Dorothy Street, he looked west and observed a large white vehicle. You were looking back toward Bundy, is that correct?
Exactly, yes.
So when we talk about looking west on this diagram, you described that you're on Dorothy and you're looking back
Down, yeah, west.
toward Bundy, is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
And then you told the officers at that time you saw a large white vehicle, right?
Yeah, like a wagon or jeep or like car.
Okay, and you said it was shaped similar to a Chevrolet Blazer that was parked in your carport.
Yeah, they pointed at the Blazer and they said at the size of the car, and I said, yeah, it looks like the size of the car.
And that's because the interview was under the sub part of your garage, is that correct?
Right.
Okay. And you went on to tell them that this vehicle went south on Bundy Drive and drove from the location at a high rate of speed, right?
Sure.
All right. And you've always indicated that vehicle turned and went south on Bundy toward Wilshire.
Definitely.
Now, when you talked to Detective Payne and Parker, at that time, were you telling them the truth?
Sure, told them the truth.
And were you trying to be a witness for either the prosecution or the defense at that point?
Not at all, just want to give them the information.
Were you trying to make any money at that time off this?
Never did it.
Now, have you had opportunities to sell your story to various tabloids
Of
prior
course.
to now?
Sure, I never did.
Have you had an opportunity to sell your story to TV programs and do that?
Yeah, I never did.
So the fact that you might not have the newest car in the world, you've not succumbed to selling your story to make some money, have you?
Absolutely not.
And you work hard every day, don't you?
You bet.
And is that honest work?
It's honest work, hard work.
And as you go about, do you do the best you can for your clients?
Sure,
And do you support yourself with that work?
I do. Not easy, but I do.
You work hard to make your money?
You bet. 6 days a week.
You work 6 days a week?
6 days.
And are you proud of what you do?
I'm proud, I'm happy.
And are you happy with your dogs, even though they live with you at that apartment?
Oh, sure, I love it.
You lived at this apartment for how many years?
Oh, 17 years.
So do you like it after 17 years?
I live there still, but I must like it somehow.
Now, you were asked a number of questions about your contacts with the defense. Has anybody from the defense ever said anything to you about making any money on this case?
Never.
Have you ever discussed that with anybody from the defense? You never have you?
No, never.
Now, with regard to the times, Mr. Darden asked you a series of questions about the times that night. Prior to June 12th of 1994, how many times would you say you walked that route that you took that night in walking your dogs? How many times?
Boy, in these 17 years, there must be hundreds of times.
17 years you've been doing that?
Yeah, well, the dogs are 14, so 14 years.
All right, so the oldest dog is 14. You had the dog since the baby was a baby?
Yeah, sure, he was.
Okay, so the oldest dog is 14 years. So would it be correct to say you've been walking that dog at least for the 14 years or so?
Oh, sure.
You talked to us about age, and I can't go into that anymore. But at any rate, you told us the route. So are you pretty aware of how long it takes for you to walk that route with those two dogs, given their physical condition and given their age?
Oh, sure, they did so long, so many times. I know exactly the time I take every night.
So is there any doubt in your mind that the time that you first heard the barking of what you think was the Akita, that it was approximately 10:35 in the evening? Any doubt in
Sure.
your mind?
10:30, 10:35, it closed at.
Oral.
There's no doubt in your mind regarding that?
Yeah, just sure.
And then when you moved from one location to the back of the house and the garage that you were shown. Is there any doubt in your mind that was approximately 10:40?
Yeah, around 10:40. Slow walking back with the dog. I repeat it again, it's very slow with him.
All right. There's no doubt in your mind about the time.
No.
10:40.
Around the time, the 10:40.
All right. And then when you got on your street, on Dorothy Street, and you looked back, and you saw this vehicle that you described, this white wagon or whatever you described for us,
Yeah,
or Jeep. When you look back, and that vehicle was turning to go south, did you tell us it was about 10:45 at that point?
must have been around 10:45.
All right. And you pretty clear about that time?
Yes.
And then you went home.
Slowly went back home, yes.
All right. And with regard to the anchors that came on that particular night, do you know the weekend anchors in Los Angeles to identify them by name at
No.
the various television stations?
I don't know. I've just.
You just turn the television on to watch the
Yeah,
news?
if somebody tell me the name, I remember maybe. But
All right. So your best recollection is that you were watching ABC Channel 7 that
yeah,
evening?
most of the time.
All right. But are you clear that when you got home, that the news was coming on itself? Is that right?
Yeah, it was already on the news. It just started.
And you knew that to make it around 11 o'clock or thereabouts,
It was
right?
just starting 11.
And you had left home because you looked at your watch at 10:15.
Exactly, yes.
When is the last time that you saw Miss Patricia Barrett?
Oh, a few weeks ago. 3 weeks or something like that.
Was that while you were working with?
Yeah, I come always in front to get the keys.
All right, and that's why she's still working for the same gentleman?
She's still there, yeah.
And that's the same gentleman you're working with?
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Darden asked you some questions, and you told him at one point that somebody indicated to you that you were a crucial witness, one of the detectives. You remember that?
Yes, Mr. Payne.
Was that Detective Payne?
Detective Payne, yes.
When did he tell you were a crucial witness?
When?
When did he say that to you?
Oh, that was just a little later than when he took me in my interview. He looked at me and said, Robert, you are a crucial witness for us.
All right. And that be around the time of the statement I just read you that took place on June 21st?
Yeah, a little later probably.
All right.
Yeah, met him.
And then remember yesterday we talked about the fact that you came down here to this building and you saw Mr. Hodgman and Ms. Clark in this building? Remember that?
Yeah, sure.
And at that time, had Detective Payne at that point indicated to you you were a crucial witness?
Yeah,
All right, so you'd already said it by that point?
yeah, he said it.
All right. And at that time, Mr. Hodgman was coordinating things in this? Strike that. You wouldn't know. Let me strike that. At any rate, Mr. Hodgman was part of the prosecution team?
Sure, I met him, yes.
All right, and it was in his office that you met?
Yeah, he was behind the desk, so I assumed that it was
And Ms. Clark was there?
right.
All right. Now, after that, do you recall, I think in response to one of Mr. Darden's questions, you mentioned that you were out walking your dog or dogs at one point, and you saw Detective Payne go by, and you were out on the street?
Yeah, I was walking my dog. They came by with Mr. Hodgman, and they waved at me, and they talked very quick to me in the car.
You recognized Mr. Hodgman from having seen him down here in his office?
Sure, sure.
And Ms. Clark wasn't with him at that point?
No.
And you saw Detective Payne,
Yeah, he was driving.
and they waved to you?
Yeah, they say hi, Robert.
All right. Now, the fact that you weren't called by the prosecution after all their contacts with you, you're not mad at the prosecution, are you?
No, I was disappointed maybe, but I was not mad at all.
And why were you disappointed?
Because they called me a crucial witness, and I thought what I heard and what I saw might be important for them.
And then you were subpoenaed by the defense, is that correct?
Yes?
The fact that you were subpoenaed by the defense, did that in any way make you change your testimony at all?
Not at all.
And when I just read you the statement that you gave to Detective Payne back on June 21st, is that the same thing you told us here in court?
Exactly.
Now, with regard to the interview with Mr. Darden on or about, I guess, May 29th, 1995, in that interview, Mr. Darden did the most of the questioning. Is that what you indicated to us?
Yes.
And you say he was cruel to you?
Well, not cruel, but he was, not pleasant, not very pleasant.
I thought he was very cruel. Not pleasant? Is that
Not
a better
pleasant,
word?
no.
Not
Not,
pleasant?
was not smiling, believe me.
Was he smiling? Okay. But you tried to cooperate, did you not?
Sure.
And at that time, you're still willing to be a witness, is that correct?
Pardon?
You were still willing to be a witness if you were called by either side, right?
Sure, sure.
With regard to this white car that you said was a wagon or a Jeep of some kind, you never at any time saw any windows on that vehicle, did you?
No, it was dark, so they looked dark to me, the windows. There was no light in there.
Did you ever see, Mr. Darden, ask you a question, did you ever see any bumpers on that vehicle?
Could never see that from that distance.
And the distance, so we're clear that you were up Dorothy, was about how many yards, if you can tell us
50
in
yards, at least 50 yards. 50 yards.
At least 50 yards?
Yeah, yeah.
And have you ever at any time told anyone that you heard the voice of O.J. Simpson out at Bundy on June 12, 1994?
Never, never. Could never hear the voice.
Have you ever at any time told anyone that you heard the voice of a black man around that location at that time?
No, absurd, no, never.
After secondary. I have nothing further of this witness at this point.
All right, this will be a good time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our recess for the noon hour. Mr. Heidstra, you may step down. You're ordered to come back at 1:30. All right? We'll stand in recess. Oh, sorry. Remember all my admonitions to you. Don't discuss the case amongst yourselves. Don't form any opinions about the case. Don't conduct any deliberations till the matter has been submitted to you. Don't allow anybody to communicate with you with regard to the case. See you at 1:30.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Clark, did you have the opportunity to talk to Mr. Bailey concerning the other discovery issues?
I did, Your Honor. One of them, I think, is resolved, at least with respect to the tape. We never had a tape. What happened, not what was represented. What happened was, I never knew about any tape. I had our people go and check it out when Mr. Bailey made his motion this morning. And what we determined is that Mr. Lang told Detective Payne that he had taped the interview himself. And then Detective Payne asked for a copy, and Mr. Lang gave him the copy. And when Detective Payne listened to it, it had a seminar on one side and it was blank on the other. He called Tom Lang then and asked him for another copy because the one he had nothing on it, and Mr. Lang informed him that he would get it to him and then said he'd lost it and he couldn't find it and never did give him one. So we didn't have a tape. I understand now that the tape, in fact, does exist, that it's in the possession of Mr. Lang's lawyer, who is currently transcribing it. Mr. Bailey will pick it up this afternoon, and we will pick up a copy from him. I had thought that Mr. Lang was going to be testifying this afternoon, having received no notice to the contrary until 2 minutes ago, and I guess this will give us time to go over that. Mr. Hodgman needs to address the court ex parte on some other matters.
As to this witness?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Bailey?
Well, I'm inclined to object to an ex parte address on the forthcoming defense witness if he is called, but I will.
I have the feeling that is this a request under 1054.7?
It is, Your Honor.
All right, then have Mr. Hodgman here at 3:30.
Yes, Your Honor.
And to please the court,
Why don't you have one of your minions run upstairs and tell Mr. Hodgman?
Ms. Clark did not address the sketch which Mr.
I'm
Lang
sorry.
says he gave to the prosecution. And I'm wondering if any research has been done into the existence of the sketch in his file.
We'll discuss that with Mr. Bailey.
All right. Well, discuss it. If it exists, I'd like it produced.
Well, you want the tape now? I like the sketch now. Okay. I will accept the representation of Ms. Clark that the tape somehow didn't fly. And in fact, the witness relocated it, I find, when he moved 7 days ago, moved his home. So it looks like we'll both have access to it in time to prevent any lasting damage. The sketch issue, I'm still pressing.
All right. I'm going to direct the prosecution to produce that. Mr. Bailey, who has the sketch, to your knowledge?
Mr. Lang said he gave it to a policeman.
Ms. Clark,
That's not what I understand.
what's your understanding?
I don't have an understanding that any police officer received any sketch.
Well, to someone connected with the prosecution. They sent someone to pick it up, together with his statement that both sides have that he wrote out in his own handwriting detailing what he saw that night. That was almost contemporaneous.
All right. I'm not getting a clear answer from the prosecution. Is there such a sketch?
I need for Mr. Hodgman to address the court under 1054.7, Your Honor. If you would like, ask Mr. Hodgman to come down now.
No, I'll do it at 3:30. Let's get as much time as we can in with the jury.
Very
All right.
well, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. All right, Deputy McNair, let's have the jurors, please. seated. Let the record reflect we've been rejoined by all the members of our jury panel. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We have a slight change in our schedule this afternoon. We'll be taking a recess today at 3:30. All right, Mr. Heidstra, would you resume the witness stand, please? All right, good afternoon again, Mr.
Good
Heidstra.
afternoon, Mr. Judge.
You're reminded, sir, you were still under oath. And Mr. Cochran, have you completed your redirect?
Yes, I have no questions at this point.
All right. Mr. Darden,
May I confer with Mr. Cochran for a moment?
you may.
Your Honor, we just received this. Can we have just a moment to digest it? You told us that you detail cars, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry.
All right. Proceed.
You told us that you detail cars for a living. Is that right?
That's right.
And when you detail a car, you pretty much wash and wax and clean just about every aspect of the interior and exterior of that vehicle. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And yet it's your testimony that you can't tell the difference between a Bronco, an Explorer, and a Jeep?
Sustained. Argumentative as phrase. There's been no testimony of explorers.
I'm sorry. Is it your testimony that you can't tell, or rather distinguish, a Ford Bronco from a Jeep?
They look very much alike in the distance. It was 50 yards at least. I couldn't say exactly what it was, impossible.
And also that you can't distinguish a Ford Bronco from a Chevy Blazer?
They look very much alike.
The Chevy Blazer and the Ford Bronco looks very much alike to you?
Yeah, they look alike, certainly from the distance. From the distance.
You were just reading your statement to Detective Payne with Mr. Cochran, is that correct?
Yes,
But you didn't read all of that statement to the jury, did you?
yes.
You didn't read this part, did you? At the bottom of page 1, where the statement reads, "It was his opinion the sounds came from the Brown estate, as that residence is the only one in the area with a large metal security gate." Okay. You didn't read that this morning when you and Mr. Cochran were reading your statement, did you?
Overruled.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have here 15 photographs. Would they be marked collectively as 501?
All right, People's 501 collectively, and how many photographs?
15.
And you've shown those to Mr. Cochran?
Yes.
All right.
Mr. Heidstra is showing you the 15 photographs here. All of those photographs depict metal gates at residences located at or adjacent to 875
Overruled.
South Bundy. Is that correct?
Pardon?
Each of those photographs show gates, metal gates, at residences located adjacent to and within a couple of doors from
Right.
875 South Bundy. Is that correct?
It's correct.
Okay. Would you just take a look through all 15 photographs just to make sure? And would you also take notice of whether or not the addresses for each of those residences is indicated on the photographs?
Yes. Sure.
All right, the record should reflect the witnesses had the opportunity to examine each of those 15 photographs. Mr. Darden.
And in fact, Mr. Heidstra, those photographs, or some of those photographs, show gates that look exactly like the gate at 875 South Bundy, don't they?
They do, sir.
Okay. There are other residences with gates just like Nicole Brown's front gate, correct?
Yeah, there's some of them, not all.
Okay. And yet it's your testimony that from your position in that alley that you could tell, that you knew that the gate that you heard slam closed was Nicole Brown's gate?
Overruled.
Sure, because I was just opposite Nicole's condo, and I knew the dog was behind that gate, so I thought that must be the gate from the dog.
You knew the dog was behind the gate?
Oh, before, yes. I remember seeing him before, yes.
Okay, but you knew the dog was behind the gate that night?
No, it didn't sound like he was behind the gate. He was on the street somehow. It sounded like it. He was very close by when I came to
The Akita was walking on the street?
No, I didn't see him, but he sounded very close, when I came to the corner.
Did it sound to you as if the Akita was on the east side of Bundy?
No, I don't. But I couldn't see that. No, I don't think so.
Are you certain that the Akita was not at 875 South Bundy when you heard it barking?
I couldn't say that. It sounded like he was on the street and he was in front of the condo or something like that.
Did it sound to you as if the Akita was walking up and down the street?
No. It was not walking at all, no.
Do you know someone by the name of Lanu? Lanu?
Never heard. Maybe if I see the person, maybe I recognize it.
Do you know someone named Christian Anders?
Yeah, I know him.
Do you know someone named Marilee Kane?
Yeah.
Your Honor, may we approach for a moment?
What's the court reporter, please? All right, thank you, counsel. Proceed. I'm sorry. Look. All right, let the record reflect we have all our jurors back with us. Mr. Darden, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Heidstra, you testified that you know Mary Lee Kane.
Yes,
Okay. And who is she?
she's a client of mine.
And does she live on Bundy?
Yeah, she moved in there recently.
Pardon me?
She moved in there recently
Okay. And where did she live before that?
in Santa Monica.
Okay. And did you know her while she was living in Santa Monica?
Yeah, on Idaho.
Pardon?
Idaho. Idaho Street.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Potatoes.
Okay. In fact, you've known Miss Kane for about 5 years. Is that correct?
About that time, yes.
Okay. And you've been detailing her vehicles for the past 5 years?
Around that, yes.
Okay. And you've had occasion to talk to Miss Kane about your observations and perceptions of June 12, 1994. Is that correct?
I might have, yes.
When you say you might have you?
I'm sure I did, yeah. We told her.
And you told Miss Kane that you usually walk your dog around 10 o'clock. Is that right?
Exactly.
And you told her that you left a little late that Sunday night. Is that correct?
10:15, I told her.
Okay. You didn't tell Miss Kane that you left at 10:15, did you?
Wasn't misunderstood? I never said that. I said 10:15. I never said little late.
Well, while talking to Miss Kane, did you state, quote, that you left, I'm sorry, let me redo that. While talking to Miss Kane, did you tell her that you left, quote, a little late, unquote?
Late, I left late. Never is a little late. I left late.
And during your conversations with Miss Kane, you told her that the vehicle that you saw was a white Bronco, didn't you?
I didn't say Bronco.
Did you ever tell Miss Kane that you saw a white Bronco?
A white car. A white Blazer, big car, Jeep. I never said a Bronco.
Isn't it true that you told Miss Kane that you saw a white Bronco pull out of the alley behind Bundy?
Pull up the... I never saw in the alley. No, not at all. I saw the car coming from the west side of Dorothy, but in the alley I never saw it.
Well, while standing on the street at Dorothy, if you look west, you can actually see the mouth of the alley. Is that correct?
No, it's dark behind there, completely dark. You can see nothing. Very dark.
Isn't there a street light at the corner, Mr. Heidstra?
It's just on the corner that shines just the crossing, but not behind there.
Did you tell Miss Kane that you saw a white Bronco pull out of the alley behind
I
Bundy?
never said...
You can answer the question.
I never saw it, told a Bronco. It looked like a Blazer car.
Question is, did you tell Miss Kane that you saw a white Bronco pull out of the alley behind Bundy?
I can't recall that. I said a Jeep or a Blazer-like car. It could have been a Bronco, I don't know, but I didn't say specifically a Bronco.
Okay, so your answer to my question is no then, sir?
Pardon?
The answer to my question is no?
No, I don't recall that at all.
But it's your testimony that it could have been a Bronco. Is that right?
Could have been.
Okay.
The distance was big. I could never see that for sure.
And when you first saw that vehicle, which could have been a Bronco, it was going east on Dorothy, right?
Yes, it came down the street there.
Okay. And the alley that leads behind Nicole Brown's condo would have been just west of that Bronco.
Yeah,
the
that
car
was
that
west.
looks like a Bronco.
Yeah, it was west.
Okay. You don't know whether or not that vehicle came out of the alleyway?
I told you I could never see it. It was dark as can be. There is no light there. It came out of the darkness. I don't know from where.
And in terms of the time in which you saw that white vehicle, you can only give us an approximation, right?
Yes.
You can't give us the exact time.
No, I didn't look on my watch.
And were you standing in front of a residence when you saw that white vehicle that looked like a Bronco?
Yes.
Do you know the address to that residence?
No, like I said, that's 3 houses up the block from the alley. I don't know the street. No. It's 3 houses from the corner of Bundy, I mean.
Okay. So would you be west of the alley or east of the alley?
East of the alley.
Okay. And we're talking about the alley that is
Mine,
on, the alley on the east side of Bundy, correct?
yes, right.
You've also testified that you've walked down the alley behind the one located behind Nicole Brown's condo, right?
I never walked there with her. I never crossed there. I never been with them with my dogs in that alley ever.
Are you aware that when the police found the bodies, that the front gate at 875 South Bundy was open?
Sustain.
Already told us that you were interviewed by the news, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And didn't you tell a television reporter that the intersection and the area at Bundy and Dorothy was well lit?
It's well lit, exactly, yes.
Okay, so you could see the mouth of the alleyway then, is that correct?
Overruled. You can answer the question.
See that it was dark, very dark. Came out of the darkness, like I said, into the light on the crossing from Bundy and Dorothy. Out of the darkness, I never know where it came from.
Can I have one moment, John? Spoke to the news reporter. Did you tell the reporter that you could make out the vehicle clearly because of that street light located at the
I could see
intersection?
certainly a light-colored car, for sure.
And so the vehicle went south on Bundy, is that correct?
Exactly, yes, sure.
Okay. It didn't go north.
No, never.
Now, had the vehicle gone north, it would have driven right past the front of Nicole Brown's condo, is that right?
All right, right.
Have you seen the photographs of the dog, the bloody paw prints at 875 Bundy?
Overruled.
Okay. Have you seen the photographs of the bloody paw prints heading south on Bundy?
I saw it in a newspaper.
And that would be the same direction in which the white vehicle that looked like a Bronco went. wouldn't
South.
it? When you walk around, have you noticed that your dog follows you?
My dog what?
You know, when you go places or walk,
Yeah.
have you noticed that your dog follows you?
My dogs?
Yes.
Sustain.
When Mr. Cochran was asking you questions on redirect, you testified that you were disappointed that you were not being called as a witness by the prosecution. Is that correct?
Sure.
And why is that?
Because you called me a crucial witness at that time, and I was very surprised about that.
Did you feel that the information that you had,
Sure, the time.
pardon,
The time.
just the time?
Well, I thought that was very important.
Well, what about your observations of a white vehicle that looked like a Bronco? Did you think that was important?
Sure, that was important, but it was a big distance. I couldn't see it exactly what it was.
And the fact that you heard two voices, you thought that was important?
Sure.
And you don't know why the prosecution didn't call you, do you?
No idea.
Walked down the alley. You said it was 10:30 or 10:35 when you first heard the dog bark, right?
About that time, yes.
Okay. And then you walked down the alley,
Overruled.
okay,
Overruled.
right?
Yes.
How long is that alley?
I have no idea. But I can say that in English. I don't know the yards in English, so it would be in meters for me.
Okay, how many meters?
Oh my God, that'd be at least 100 meters, 150 meters, something like that. Guess, I don't know for sure.
And it took you, what, more than 10 minutes to walk 100 meters?
No, 10 minutes.
Pardon?
I was at the corner about 10:35. That's around 10:35, and I turned around.
I thought you said you were at the corner around 10:30.
10:30, 10:35.
Overruled.
At any event, it took you 10 minutes to walk that 100 meters?
Not 10 minutes.
5 minutes?
Yeah, about that. Because I stood in the alley for a couple of minutes listening to the commotion there.
So is it fair to say that it takes you about, what, 3 minutes to walk 100 meters with your dogs?
Yeah, but I stood still there. I was standing there listening to the noise and the voices for a couple of minutes.
Okay, so your actual walking time in the alley then was what, 3 minutes?
No more. 4 minutes, something, for 5 minutes.
And when Mr. Cochran asked you those additional questions this morning, you took a look at the letter that Mr. Bailey sent you, is that right?
I did, yes.
This is the first laminated letter that you've ever received?
Part,
Is this the first time that you've ever received
yeah,
a
right,
laminated
yes,
letter?
yes.
Overruled.
You never received a laminated letter from the prosecution, I take
No,
it?
no.
You also told us that you know Christian Anders, is that right?
Yeah, I see him sometimes passing by.
And he is someone that you see often walking his dogs, is that right?
Yeah, he has a little tiny dog, yes.
I'm sorry?
A tiny little dog, yes.
No. What kind of dog does he have?
A Shih Tzu or something like that.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Shih Tzu. Shih Tzu.
And since June 12, 1994, you and he have run into each other.
Yeah, I see him sometimes walking the dog.
And you and he have talked about the case, correct?
Oh, yeah, because he has a TV program, so he was interested.
He has a TV program on cable.
Yeah,
He asked you to come on to his program.
yes.
And you've known Mr. Anders several years, is that right?
No.
How long have you known him?
Since the first time I met him, it's not even a year. I know he lived in the neighborhood, but I never talked to him before with him.
Okay. But you did talk to him about the case.
Yes, we talked about it.
Did you tell Mr. Anders that you recognized that the second voice that you heard as Mr. Simpson's voice?
Never said that. He asked me, do you think it was OJ? And I said, I don't know. I never saw the person.
Isn't it true that when Mr. Anders asked you about the second voice, that you responded to him, quote, "The thing is clear to me, it was OJ," unquote?
No, never said that. He asked me, do you think it's OJ?
Did you also tell Mr. Anders that the vehicle you saw was a white Bronco?
Not a white Bronco, I said it was a big Jeep, like.
Didn't
It
you
could
tell-
have been, but I was not sure at all.
Didn't you tell Mr. Anders that you observed a white Bronco dashing away from the
Not
intersection
dashing.
at Bundy?
Not dashing, and not. I didn't say Bronco. He said could have been a Bronco. I said I don't know. It could be, but I'm not sure it's the same size as a Blazer.
And didn't you also tell Mr. Anders that that vehicle had tinted windows?
Yeah, it looked like in the dark. When it came in dark windows, it looked like it was tinted windows. It looked. I'm not for sure, but it looked like.
Anything else? Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Cochran?
Just a few questions more. Sir, with regard to that letter that you got from Mr. Bailey that I showed you earlier, the letter which talked to you about, asked you not to talk to other witnesses, defense to 1240, there was another part on that. They were laminated and kind of stuck together.
Yeah, right,
Is
right,
that-
right. Yeah.
And do you recall that the other part was an order from Judge Ito about witnesses not watching television?
Yes, right.
Overruled.
So what Mr. Darden is asking all these questions about was a letter from Mr. Bailey, which we've shown to the jury, with the judge's order saying not to watch television. Isn't that right?
Yeah, exactly, yes.
And that's all that you received from Mr. Bailey. Is that right?
That's all.
Now, with regard to these witnesses, I want to ask you specifically with regard to Christian Anders. Have you ever at any time in your life ever said to Christian Anders that O.J. Simpson was at that scene on the night of June 12, 1994?
Never. I could have never said that. I never saw somebody there.
And with regard to, did you ever at any time tell Christian Anders that you saw a Bronco on that night? You never did that, did you?
It's a big car, a big Jeep, or it looked like it could be anything.
And in fact, from the very beginning, from the time that you first spoke with the detectives in this case on June 21st, you said it was a big white car.
Yeah,
Is that right?
Big Jeep, big Jeep, or Blazer.
Hold on. Sustained, it is leading.
All right. Let me say it another way, Your Honor.
No, the answer will stand because we're going to get that anyway.
All right.
Proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. With regard to the car that you saw that night, how would you describe that car to this court and jury?
Jeep, wagon-like car, and white colored car. But
Is that-
I knew.
Sorry.
I didn't know for sure about what it exactly was.
And when you pointed that particular vehicle out to the police when they were talking to you on June 21st,
Right.
you pointed to a Chevrolet Blazer. Is that right?
Yeah, it was parked in there.
All right. And you were how far away from that vehicle when you were looking?
Oh, few feet. I mean, it was very close together.
Well, the Blazer you were close to, right?
Yeah, sure.
All right. But that particular night, how many meters or how many feet or yards did you tell us you were?
About 50 yards at least.
All right. Have you had occasion to look at and measure that distance
Yeah, yes.
since that time?
Sure.
And how did you do that? Did you talk to somebody about the distance?
Yeah, I asked him because I don't know the yards in English, so they tell me what the distance was from this house to the corner of Bundy and Dorothy.
So you talked to somebody who knew the distance in yards.
Right. Exactly.
Being French, you know things in meters.
That's it, yeah.
And from that 50 yards distance, sir, on Dorothy, you were looking back west to Bundy, is that correct?
Yes.
And from your vantage point there, were you able to see any alley that might exist behind Bundy there at all?
On the west side, you mean?
Yes, in the alley behind Bundy on the west side of
No.
Bundy.
Completely dark. I never could see it.
Did you ever tell anybody you saw any people come out of that alley?
Never told anybody.
Did you ever see people come out of that alley at all?
No.
And being familiar with that area, if a person coming and going eastbound on Dorothy, and they wanted to go to the Rockingham location, would you expect, knowing that area, that you would turn right and go south to Wilshire?
Objection. On the question of
Overruled.
You wouldn't go south on Wilshire that way, would
No,
you?
you go north to Sunset.
And do you have any doubt in your mind that this white car that you can't identify turned right and went south
No
on
doubt.
Bundy?
No doubt.
No doubt at all?
Not at all.
Now, let's take this other witness. This Marilee Kane. With regard to the questions that you were asked, when you talked to Marilee Kane, is that a woman?
Yes, a woman.
When you talked to Miss Marilee Kane, at any time, you never said anything to her about hearing any young adult voice, did you?
No, I said a clear voice. Was it a clear
And you
voice?
talked about the words, hey, 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 is that right?
Yes.
And did you ever mention at all, if you recall, to Miss Kane, anything about a second voice at all?
Yeah, I said to her there was two voices I've heard there. That's it.
All right. But could you identify that second voice at all?
No, it was too much noise.
And where was the noise coming from?
Came down from Bundy when I was in the alley. From Nicole's condo, I'm sure it was there.
And do you recall at some point talking to Miss Kane and telling her that the white vehicle that you observed could have been a white van? Do you recall ever saying that?
Yeah, it's a Jeep or van, I told her, the Blazer, whatever we talk about.
Same thing you've been telling us here, right?
Yeah, right.
Is that the same thing you told the detectives back on June 21st, 1994?
Yes, when they came to my place, sure.
Now, so that we're clear, Mr. Heidstra, is there any doubt in your mind that you were in that alley that was walking parallel to Bundy on the night of June 12th, 1994?
No doubt, I'd never forget that.
Is there any doubt in your mind that when you stopped behind that house that it was approximately 10:40 p.m.? Any doubt?
Overruled.
Sure.
Is there any doubt in your mind about that?
No, no doubt about it.
Is there any doubt in your mind that when you were on your street on Dorothy and you looked back before you saw this car turning right to go south on Bundy, that it was about 10:45 in the evening?
Around 45, yes.
Any doubt in your mind about that?
Oh, no, it was, must have been at that time exactly when I came to the hour.
Is there any doubt in your mind that you could not identify the voices of either one of these two people?
Never, never could I know.
And is it part of your vocabulary to identify the race or ethnicity of any particular voice? You do that?
No, that's absurd, that's crazy.
Overruled.
That's crazy, then of course not.
You ever done that?
No,
Would you do that?
no, ever, no, never in my life.
Did you do that in this case?
No.
Do you even know what O.J. Simpson sounds like?
No, I heard him maybe once and twice on TV, but never, I don't know the voice at all.
You never heard his voice that night, did you?
No, no. I don't know, it was too much noise.
Overruled.
And you never saw him that night, did you?
Never. I saw nobody.
You told us the truth here today?
I told you the truth.
And even with regard to this man who is supposedly has a cable TV show, he asked you to be on his TV show, did he?
Yes,
Did you turn him down also?
I turned him down.
Have you turned everybody down about being on their show?
I turned them all down, yes.
Except the news, when the news
Well, in the
broadcast?
beginning, yes, yes.
Now, have you been offered, did someone offer you to go on hard copy?
Yeah, there was a lady, a friend of,
Did a lady ask you to go on hard copy with some other person?
Objection, Your Honor, this is leading irrelevant.
I'm asking.
Overruled.
yes,
Who was that person they asked you to go on hard copy with?
that was that Patricia.
Patricia Barrett?
Yeah.
Did you go on hard copy with Patricia Barrett?
No, I refused.
You did what?
I refused, and I didn't want to do it.
Did you take any money from anybody?
No. Nothing.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Mr. Darden.
Just a couple of questions, Your Honor.
Are you aware that Patricia Barrett appeared on hard copy?
She said she would appear on hard copy.
Are you aware that she did?
I don't know.
Are you aware
And
that
I
she,
never watched that program.
Are you aware that she did and she didn't get paid?
I don't know.
Oh, just a moment. Object to that, Your Honor.
Sustained. Answer stricken. Jury is to disregard the implication of the question.
And you didn't turn Christian Anders down when he asked you to appear on his show, did you?
Sure, I didn't want to do it. So let me think about it.
What you actually told Mr. Anders was you'd have to talk to your lawyer, is that right?
Yeah, for sure I don't want to go in, but I never did it. I refused.
You got a lawyer?
No, I talked to her.
Just a moment. Object.
Overruled.
I don't have a lawyer. I know a lawyer do some cases for me, for my apartment and everything, so I told him about
Isn't it true that around December 1994, you asked Mr. Field to refer you to his lawyer?
Might, I don't remember that.
Did you, Mr. Heidstra?
I don't remember that.
Did you ask Mr. Field to refer you to his lawyer so that
No.
you could have a lawyer deal with your involvement in this case?
No, I thought maybe I need a lawyer, but I never asked his lawyer. I never asked about his lawyer. I don't know what kind of lawyer he has at all.
You feel like you need a lawyer just to come here and tell the jury the truth, as you say you have today?
Go on back. What's this argument?
Sustained.
But your focus in terms of financial gain as a result of testifying in this case is after the case is over, is that correct?
No, no plans whatsoever.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Now, you come here and testified, and you said you told us the truth. You have a lawyer anywhere in this audience out here today with you?
No, no.
You came in here unarmed, without a lawyer, right?
On my own, yes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Heidstra, thank you very much. I am going to release you for the day, however, you were subject to being recalled. All right?
thanks a
Thank you
lot.
very much, sir. All right, next witness.
Please report Captain Wayne Stanfield being called out of order.
May I give something very Because of, the court allows this, because of the
Let me see counsel at the sidebar. All right, as to the defense, Mr. Cochran, you have a witness you want to call out of order for scheduling reasons?
Yes, Your Honor, because you cannot be here after today.
All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Bailey?
Captain Stanfield, would you be sworn, please?
All right, would you stand over here next to the podium, sir? Face the clerk.
I do.
Please have a seat in the witness stand and state and spell your first and last names for the record.
And I am Wayne Stanfield, W-A-Y-N-E, Stanfield, S-T-A-N-F-I-E-L-D.
Mr.
Where do you
Bailey.
live, Mr. Stanfield? Just the city?
Camarillo.
Camarillo, California? What is your occupation?
I'm an airline pilot.
And what rank do you hold?
Captain,
How long have you been a captain?
3.5 years.
Did you fly on the evening of June 12th, 1994?
Yes, sir, I did.
Where did you fly from and to?
Los Angeles to Chicago, Chicago to Albany,
And what time did you depart Los Angeles that night?
2345,
Do you remember the flight number?
668, yes, sir.
And what kind of equipment were you flying?
A Super 80, an MD-80.
That's a McDonnell Douglas
Yes, it is. A stretch DC-9.
follow-on to the DC-9?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Excuse me, Captain. Would you please allow the lawyers to finish asking their question before you start answering?
Yes, sir.
Right. Court reporter can only take down one person at a time.
How long have you been with American Captain?
10 years.
And prior to that, what did you do?
I was a carpenter for 4 years. I worked for Continental Airlines for 2 years, and then I was in the Navy active duty, and I also did Navy reserve duty as well.
Are you still in the Navy?
Yes, I am.
And what is your current rank?
I am a captain selectee.
Okay. Now, you gave the time as 23:45. Is that military time?
Yes, sir.
What
11:45 p.m.
PM in the evening? Okay. What were the conditions that evening, if you remember?
Weather conditions?
Anything remarkable about the flight?
No, sir.
Anything remarkable about the passengers on the flight?
No, sir, except for Mr. Simpson was on the flight.
All right. Did you at some point learn that one of the passengers on your aircraft was Mr. O.J. Simpson?
Yes, sir.
And without saying what was said, can you tell me who brought that information to you?
The first flight attendant indicated that Mr. Simpson had come aboard.
What altitude did you fly to Chicago that night, if you remember?
I think it was 31,000.
All right. And how far into the flight were you in terms of hours and minutes before you first left the cockpit or the cabin?
Approximately 3 hours.
What was your purpose in leaving the cockpit of the captain?
Just to stretch a little bit and use the facilities.
And did you have something with you that you're obliged to carry on your flights, something personal, such as a logbook?
It's not obliged. I keep my own personal flight logbook. But yes, sir, I did take it back with me.
Are you not required to log every flight?
Not anymore, sir. After you make captain, there's no requirement to keep your flight hours because you've already made captain.
Is that because there's no higher rank?
Apparently, yes.
When you came back into the cabin, how were you dressed?
I had my uniform on without the jacket and without the hat.
Okay. Had you known personally, prior to this flight, Mr. O.J. Simpson?
No, sir.
Had you ever met him?
No, sir.
Were you familiar with what he looked like?
Yes, sir.
How had you been exposed to Mr. Simpson, or how had he been exposed to you?
Through the media, sporting events, press, as well as video and movie.
Had you noticed him on television any number of times?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay. And had you ever followed his career?
Yes, I have.
Back when he was in college in California?
Yes.
Did you have occasion to speak to Mr. Simpson during the course of the flight you've just described?
Yes, sir, I did.
Where was he sitting?
In the second row on the right-hand side of the aircraft next to the window.
And how did you greet him?
I excused myself because I had just moved from the restroom area to around a little bulkhead there and asked if it wouldn't be an imposition to talk to him for a moment.
Okay. When you first encountered Mr. Simpson and he was sitting by the window, was he awake or asleep?
He was awake.
What, if anything, did you observe that he was doing?
Just looking out the window. If anything, I would characterize it as being pensive, just lost in thought.
And did you introduce yourself?
Well, I asked initially if it wouldn't be an imposition to talk to him, and then I introduced myself, and we shook hands.
What was his response when you asked if that would be an imposition?
Overruled.
He came out of his seat in sort of a half crouch and extended his hand, and we shook hands, and I thanked him.
Okay. Did you sit down in the aisle seat?
Yes, I did. I sat next to him.
And did a conversation ensue?
Yes, sir, it did.
Without telling us what was said, did you at some point make a request of Mr. Simpson?
Yes, I did.
And what was that request?
I asked if he would sign my logbook.
And did he in fact do so?
Yes, sir, he did.
Do you keep your logbook under fairly tight control?
Yes, I do.
Is that something you regard as of personal value?
It is my own personal record of my flight time and notes about types of approaches and the people I fly with and so forth. So, yes, it is important to me.
Okay. At my request, did you make a photostat of a certain page of your logbook relevant to that evening's flight?
Yes, sir, I
Do
did.
you have it with you?
Yes, I do.
May I approach, Your Honor?
You may. You may.
May this be marked as defendant's next in order.
1242.
Hand 1242 to the witness and ask you if there are any markings on that page which you personally observed made by Mr. O.J. Simpson, who's sitting at the defense table.
Yes.
Would you just point them out on the page?
His signature and a peace to you comment underneath.
And what is the date of the logbook page that I'm holding?
It's 12 June of 94, but it also has 14 June on there as well.
Okay. And I see an MD-80 668 flight number, LAX to ORD. What does ORD stand for?
Chicago O'Hare Airport.
Is that where you went that night?
Yes, sir.
Okay. May I, Your Honor, just without passing this around, show it to the jury?
You want to put it on the Elmo?
Oh, fine. This is going to appear on the screen above you, and there's one down to your right, which may be a little clearer. If you crank that up a little bit, back off, Howard, if you will. All right. Can you tell us where on that page the date appears?
On the upper right-hand corner, 12
And
June.
The name crew, there's a name next to that. Can you tell us who that is?
It's my co-pilot, Bob Julius.
All right, and the first line of the several columns across, can you tell us what information is entered in that row?
Yes, sir. Flight was Flight 668. The aircraft was an MD-80. The ship number was 215. The departure point was Los Angeles. The arrival point on that leg was Chicago O'Hare. Continuing over the departure time, Zulu time was 0645. The actual takeoff time looks like 0656. The land time at Chicago, I think it's 10:33. I can't really read it on the monitor.
Do you perhaps have a different flight? I understood that the passengers boarded at 11:45.
That's, yeah, Zulu time was 0645. The local time was 2345.
I see, okay.
The Zulu time is how I keep my
All right.
logbook.
When you say Zulu time, could you translate that, please, for the members of the jury?
Greenwich Mean Time.
All right. Is that time used in aviation as a common denominator for all flights?
Yes, sir. That's
So when it's 6:45 in Greenwich, England, what time is it in Los Angeles?
2345.
Okay. What time, Chicago time, did you land, if you can compute that, please?
4:33 was the actual touchdown, if that's the 33. And then it took us a few minutes to taxi into the gate and arriving at 4:41.
Okay. And did the flight attendant say stand by for early arrival?
Oh, I don't believe so.
Raise the paper, please. Is that the signature that was inscribed that night by Mr. Simpson in your presence?
Yes, sir, it is.
And the word peace to you, is that in his handwriting?
Yes, it is.
All right. Now, Captain, you said that you have seen Mr. Simpson from time to time through the media. Could you
Yes.
compare the demeanor you observed that night in your conversation with Mr. Simpson, the way he acted, the way he reacted to you, to the way you've seen him in other circumstances?
It was the same.
All right. Did he appear to be relaxed?
Yes, he did.
Did he appear to respond to your questions in an alert fashion?
Yes, he did.
Did you see anything at all unusual about him that night?
No, sir.
When you went back to the cockpit, without going into anything that was said, did you have a conversation with Mr. Simpson, about Mr. Simpson with your co-pilot? Or a remark?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's it. When you were seated next to Mr. Simpson that night, Captain, and he was writing in your book, did you see both of his hands?
Yes.
Did you see any bandages or injuries that caught your attention?
No, sir, I didn't register on that at all.
Was there anything unusual about the hands you saw that night or about Mr. Simpson's appearance otherwise?
My only observation is that he has a much larger hand than I would have expected, but nothing as far as cuts or anything.
Thank you. Get with us.
Mr. Darden?
Thank you, Your Honor.
testified a moment ago that you didn't register on that at all.
No, sir.
What do you mean when you say you didn't register at all?
Well, the question was, did I see his hands? And in order to shake his hands, hand him my logbook, and loan him a pen, I did have to look at his hands, yes.
Okay. Were you expecting to see a cut on his left hand?
No, sir.
Were you looking for a cut on his left hand?
No, I was not.
Now, you went over to speak to Mr. Simpson 3 hours into your flight.
Yes, I did.
And what time did that flight leave LAX?
23:45.
11:45 p.m.
Correct.
And so you went over to talk to Mr. Simpson, the defendant, here at 2:45 a.m.
That is correct.
Pacific time.
Yes.
Okay. And the defendant was wide awake.
Yes, he was.
He was the only passenger in first class who was awake at that time, wasn't
I can't attest to that, no.
he? You don't know?
I do not know.
Well, there was someone assigned, an employee of the aircraft, rather, someone who was assigned to monitor the passengers in first class. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
To observe the passengers,
Yes.
tend to their needs,
Yes.
and that would be who? Who was that person?
The first flight attendant, Bev DeTeresa.
Beverly D. Teresa?
That's correct.
She was the first class flight attendant on that flight?
Yes.
Now, when you fly at night, do you turn the cabin lights down?
Yes.
Okay. And you do that particularly when you're flying a red-eye flight, right?
Yes.
And is that so that the passengers on the plane can sleep?
Absolutely.
In fact, you expect that the passengers will sleep, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Simpson wasn't asleep.
That's correct.
And so were the cabin lights down during the time that you were speaking to Mr. Simpson?
They were dimmed. Yes.
Okay. And there's an overhead light, is that correct?
Yes.
Was that light on or off?
It was on.
Okay. It was on Mr. Simpson?
Yes, it was.
And when you saw him, was he holding something in his hand?
No.
He was just seated there with the light on,
Yes.
at 2:45 in the morning, right?
Yes.
And when you first approached Mr. Simpson, you spoke to him, right?
Yes, I did.
And you extended your hand to him?
I believe it was mutual because he came out of his seat in sort of a half crouch as I had excused myself and extended his hand, and I extended mine.
And when you say that he came out of his seat in a half crouch, are you indicating to us that he sort of raised up with his knees bent?
Yes, he did.
Did he groan in pain when he did that?
No, sir, he didn't.
And both you and the defendant extended your hands, is that right?
Yes, it is.
And you shook his hand?
Yes, I did.
And you used your right hand to shake his hand?
Yes, I did.
And he gave you his right hand?
Yes.
And you gave each other a shake?
Yes.
And that was a firm handshake, wasn't it?
It was a firm, warm handshake, yes.
Okay, and Mr. Simpson, the defendant here, he didn't grimace in pain when you shook his hand, did he?
No, sir.
And at some point you gave the defendant an ink pen, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
And you gave him your log?
Yes, I did.
Did he have any trouble reaching out and taking the pen out of your hand?
No.
Did he have any trouble holding the ink pen?
No.
Did he appear to have any trouble signing that autograph?
No.
Was there anything about the way he behaved that caused you to think that he was in pain?
No.
And when the defendant signed that autograph, he signed it with his right hand, didn't he?
Yes, sir.
Now, you testified that the plane left around 11:45 p.m.
Yes.
Did you have to wait at the gate for the defendant to get onto the plane?
No.
But he almost missed the plane, is that correct?
He was very late, yes.
You saw the defendant come onto the plane?
I did not.
Okay. Did you see him immediately after he arrived?
Yes, I did.
And you saw him stowing a bag in the overhead compartment, didn't you?
I saw him standing at his row. I did not see him stowing the bag, but he was standing as if he could have been.
Okay. Did you tell a defense investigator that you saw the defendant stowing a bag in the overhead compartment?
I don't recall if I did it at the time. It may have been what I recalled, yes.
Did you tell a defense investigator that you saw him stow a bag that was described as an athletic bag?
Yes, I believe I did.
Okay. And you recall the color of that bag?
No, sir, I don't.
Okay. Was it only one bag that you saw the defendant with?
Yes.
Now, I take it that, we'll strike that. You told us that you've seen the defendant on television before.
Yes.
You've seen him announcing football games.
Yes.
Okay. You ever notice him to wear gloves while announcing some of those football games?
I don't recall.
You've seen him on television commercials?
Yes.
Hertz commercials?
Yes.
And I'm sorry, what was your testimony as to his demeanor? When you compared his demeanor on the plane to his demeanor on television and in commercials, you said it was basically the same, or what did you say?
The way the question was worded, was it similar? And yes, it was. He was warm and genial.
You can't attest to the defendant's demeanor at 10:30 p.m. that night, can you?
No, I cannot.
Or 10:15 for that matter,
I cannot.
or 10:35 to 10:40.
I cannot.
And you can't tell us whether or not the demeanor that you saw is the way the defendant usually acts.
I cannot.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
The way it usually is.
Right?
That is correct.
Have you ever seen the defendant's demeanor after he was involved in a heated argument?
I have not.
Have you ever seen the defendant's, strike that, did you ever see the defendant's demeanor after an incident that occurred on New Year's Day in 1989?
No.
Sustained. Curious to disregard.
How many different times did you speak to the defendant during the flight?
Just the one time when I was in the cabin.
Okay. But you saw him on other occasions during the flight?
Upon his arrival at the aircraft, the one time in the cabin, and that was it.
Okay. Did you see him as he exited the cabin?
No, sir.
And on those two occasions that you saw the defendant, did his demeanor remain the same?
Yes, sir.
When you approached the defendant as he was seated on the aircraft, did you notice whether or not he had a Louis Vuitton garment bag with him?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you, Mr. Darden.
Did he have a Louis Vuitton garment bag with him?
I did not notice.
Okay. And the athletic bag that you now recall having seen, did it appear full?
I don't recall.
And when you first approached the defendant at 2:45 Pacific time that morning, he was staring out the window?
Yes, sir.
Did he have a tray on his lap?
No.
Have a cup of coffee in his hand?
No, sir.
Did he have any kind of beverage in his hand?
No.
No book in his hand?
No.
Have one moment, I'm almost done. Thank you, Captain.
All right, Mr. Bailey?
Thank you very much for coming, Captain. I have no further questions.
All right, Captain, thank you very much. All right, next witness.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, we'd like to call Mr. Mike Norris.
All right, Mr. Norris, would you just stand right there and face the clerk, please?
Sure.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you may give, as well as not taken before this court, shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please have a seat on the witness stand and state and spell your first and last name for the record.
First name Michael, last name is Norris, Norris.
All right, Mr. Norris, would you just set aside those 2 cups that are there, please? Great. Thank you, sir. All right, Mr. Shapiro.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Mr. Norris.
Good afternoon.
A little nervous today?
Yes.
Okay, we ask you just try to relax. I have a very few questions for you this afternoon.
Okay.
Would you briefly tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what your education is after high school?
After high school, I attended El Camino Junior College for a year and a half and transferred to Fort Hays State University in Kansas, and attended there for 2.5 years.
In what fields did you study?
Physical education and sociology.
Do you plan on returning to school?
Yes.
Are you currently employed?
Yes.
And what is your current employment?
I currently work for full-time for Southern Cal Gas, and I work part-time for Network Courier.
And Network Courier is a delivery service?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been employed by Network Courier?
In August, it'll be 4 years.
Are you married?
Yes.
You have a family?
Yes.
Were you at the airport on June the 12th, 1994 as a courier?
Yes.
And why is that date important to you?
That was the night that we met or saw O.J. Simpson at the airport and learned the next day that his ex-wife had been murdered.
When you say we, were you with someone else at the airport?
Yes.
Who were you with?
Mike Gladden.
And is he here this afternoon?
Yes.
Where were you when you, did you observe a limousine that evening?
Yes.
What time did you observe the limousine?
Approximately 11:20 to 11:25.
Where were you when you observed the limousine?
Walking to get into our vans, we had just dropped some packages off at the airport.
And did you take particular notice of this limousine?
Yes.
For any particular reason?
Yes.
What was the reason?
It pulled up right next to our vans and kind of blocked us in.
Did you see someone open the door to the limousine?
Yes.
Who opened the door to the limousine?
The limousine driver.
And did you see someone get out of the limousine?
Yes.
Did you recognize that person?
Yes.
Who did you recognize that person as?
O.J. Simpson.
About what time was it that you saw Mr. Simpson get out of the limousine at the airport?
Between 11:20 and 11:25.
Was he carrying anything when he got out of the limousine?
I don't remember him carrying anything when he got out.
What did you see him do when he got out of the limousine?
He walked to the, well, as he got out, I said, "Hey, what's up, O.J.?" And then he walked to the back of the limo.
Did he respond at all to you?
Yes, he did.
What did he respond?
He said, "Hey, what's happening?"
Did he look at you when he said that?
Yes, he did.
About how far away from you was he?
Say approximately about 8 feet.
About the distance we are here or a little closer?
About the same distance.
And to your knowledge, did your friend say anything to Mr. Simpson?
He asked him, could he get an autograph?
And did Mr. Simpson reply?
Yes.
What did he reply?
Hold on just a minute while I take care of my luggage.
Did he then go somewhere in the direction of the limousine?
Yes, he went towards the back of the limousine.
And did you see him do something?
Yes.
What did you see him do?
He was in a bag, one of the bags in the back of the limousine. It was on the ground.
Did he open the bag?
Yes.
Did he appear to take something out?
Yes.
Sustained.
What did you see him do with the bag at the back?